a gang who were all involved in the planning and brutal execution which resulted in the brutal murder of a 22-year-old Sharmake Mohamud in Greens Lanes on 21st of September 2021. 2 other men were also injured in the barbaric shooting. Ali Ceesay, 29, of no fixed address, pleaded guilty on Tuesday, 21st of February, to cold-blooded murder and 2 counts of causing grievously bodily harm with intent. Following the conclusion of her trial at the Old Bailey on Tuesday the 28th of March, following members of the gang were found guilty of the murder and 2 counts of GBH with intent. All of them will be sentenced on a date to be set. Detective Chief Inspector Wayne Jolley from the Met Specialist Crime Command led the investigation and said this was a planned attack and the motivation for which is not entirely clear. However, the group set out that night with intention of finding and doing serious harm to anyone they perceived to be from a rival gang. The gang drove to Greens Lanes in a stolen vehicle. Whether Sharmake was their intended target all along has not been established, but when they saw him walking down the street, they focused their attention with lethal intent on him. The court heard how all the males congregated in an alleyway just over 2 miles away from the murder scene on 21st of September 2021, the day of the murder. Throughout the afternoon and evening, various members of the group arrived at the location as preparation for the brutal and savage attack took place. Shortly before 8:15 p.m, Rasit Musa was alleged to have driven a stolen Jaguar car to a nearby secluded car park off Oakthorpe Road and left it there before returning to the others at the alleyway. At around 9:25 p.m, a second stolen car, a Ford Galaxy, arrived at the alleyway. Various members of the gang handed their mobile phones to Mehdi Yunus, who in turn passed over a large machete and a black plastic bag containing a petrol can. It was clear Yunus would hang on to the phones so those carrying out the attack could not be linked to the crime scene. Shortly before 10 p.m, all of the gang got into the Ford Galaxy and were driven to where a stolen Jaguar vehicle was parked in a secluded car park off Oakthorpe Road. They got into a car and drove around 2 miles down Green Lanes and parked up close to the junction with Fairfax Road. At around 10:30 p.m, Sharmake was walking along the pavement. Ali Ceesay and one of the 17-year-olds got out of the vehicle and ran towards Sharmake, with Ceesay discharging a handgun. Sharmake was struck at least twice with the lethal bullets. 2 other men were in the vicinity were also fired upon and struck with bullets, highlighting the mad and extremely chaotic nature of the brutal attack. After the shooting, both males jumped back into the vehicle, which was driven away. The gang from the Jaguar returned to the alleyway and CCTV captured the 2 17-year-olds attempting to set alight 2 latex gloves they had been wearing in an attempt to destroy evidence. Yunus was waiting for them and returned their phones. Upon receiving his mobile telephone from Yunus, Abdul Mohammed made a telephone call, after which the group embraced in what can only be interpreted as an act of celebration following the attack. The Jaguar was driven to a service road off Oakthorpe Road, where an attempt was made to set it on fire. This was only partially successful, and when the car was recovered by police, incriminating items were found inside. These included a tracksuit with DNA on it, which also had traces of gunshot residue, and partially burnt pair of trainers with DNA on them and a machete sheath. A number of latex gloves were found close to the scene of the car fire. They contained the DNA of Ceesay and Mohammed. Found in the same location was a disposable face mask containing Ceesay's DNA. On the 23rd of September 2021, the Ford Galaxy that had been used to transport members of the gang was stopped after being seen to drive dangerously on Crofts Lane. While police were unaware of its involvement in Sharmake's murder at this point, the car was found to be on false plates, so it was seized. Those inside included 2 of the gang members, and they were arrested. In the meantime, Ceesay had travelled to Gambia, but was arrested on his return to the UK on the 27th of October 2021. he could offer no reasonable explanation for the presence of his DNA at the scene where the Jaguar had been set on fire, or for his movements when shown various CCTV clips. He was subsequently charged with Sharmake's murder and attempted murder of the two other men. Yunus and Mohamud were subsequently arrested on the 18th of November 2021. DCI Jolley added, "This was a meticulous investigation which used a combination of forensic evidence, phone work and CCTV tracking to conclusively prove the role all of the gang had in this brutal shooting." While Ceesay was the person who fired the fatal shots, all of the gang members were involved in the murder. None of them can deny that they knew the intent that night was to cause serious harm to someone, and they all played their part in the fatal outcome. Sharmake's family have been devastated by his murder and have shown tremendous strength and courage to support this investigation. I can only hope that these convictions will bring them some small sense of justice. Please like and comment and subscribe. Thanks.